This video is essentially my Olympics. Best of Beauty 2024. As a person that primarily reviews beauty on my channel, this is a video I always look forward to doing every single year because it's when I get to just gush about the products that I have found this year, that I've tried, that I've tested, and also like the classic gems of my channel. All of these products kind of collide into this video where I share with you what I think are the best of the best. It's one of the longest videos typically on my channel every year because I give you guys demos of like nearly every single product. So if you enjoy the video, if you appreciate all of the demos, all of the testing, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. It would help me out and it would help other people find my channel, and then they could join our little community. Let's just jump right into skin prep, shall we? Now, for me personally, I really rely on my skincare and especially my sunscreen to do a lot of the prepping for my makeup. I'm a huge sunscreen person. I really want a beautifully elegant formula. However, there are instances where I've already put on sunscreen and then when I go to do my makeup, I just want a little something to get my skin kind of bouncy again, to revive it. These are the two products that I use the most this year to do that. So, the Haru Haru Wonder Black Rice Probiotics Barrier Essence. You guys have heard me talk so much about this, and you've also heard me talk about the Ilia Face Base Milk. Now, I gotta be honest here, I actually used the Ilia more this year. However, I found a dupe for the Ilia, so that is when the Ilia was replaced, like right at the last second this year. Those little changes are always like so fun for me during this time of the year to see the products that I'm able to find better options for. Well, the Haru Haru Wonder Barrier Essence is an incredibly bouncy essence. I would think of it like a very, very lightweight lotion. It has this kind of gel, bouncy serum texture. It immediately goes onto the skin and almost offers this gorgeous glide, this bounce, this hydration. It is not your everyday, I'm gonna go to Sephora and get a hyaluronic acid serum. It is not that kind of product. It truly offers this nourished, barrier loving formula and finish. So your makeup glides beautifully, your skin is happy under your makeup. It's not slip slidey and greasy. It just is really beautiful skincare. So if you are a fan of a milky toner, you want one with this really beautiful bouncy texture that immediately kind of livens up the skin, I have to tell you, this is one of my favorite products that I found this year. It kind of changed everything for me. I've tried a lot. I've tried the Rogue Glazing Milk. I have tried the Tier Milk Skin. I've tried the Ilia Face Base Milk. I've tried the Laneige. I mean, I could go on and on. All of these are beautiful products that I love and still use. This is the best though. Next up, this is kind of a sleeper hit, I gotta tell you guys. So the Say Glowy Super Gel, they came out with a new shade. I've previously loved the Star Glow. It's kind of like a pearly white. I've loved the Sun Glow, which is a little bit more of a bronzy tint, but the Rose Glow is next level. It is so beautiful. I find that when I don't want to wear any makeup at all, I can just put this onto my skin. It has this, again, very slight touch of a rose gold tint. Just immediately gives me this very revived, almost like clear skin effect. There are a lot of like glow lotions on the market. This product, the Glowy Super Gel, it does feel very different to me because it is such a gel-like formula. It does slowly set a little bit on the skin, but not so much that it feels like you just have liquid highlight all over your face. It's very nourishing and nice on the skin. It just feels good. And when I am reviewing and talking about prep products, I need my skin to feel good when I have these products on. And the Haru Haru Wonder and the Say Rose Glow, both of these were top class this year. They just did it for me. And I could not get enough of them. Now we're gonna talk about foundation. So we're gonna talk about foundation, CC kind of creams, all of that good stuff. But I want you guys to be open. You know, if you are dead set on I'm looking for a foundation or I'm dead set on I'm looking for a tinted moisturizer, I just want you to kind of throw those words out the window. These are base products. And I think it's going to be the most helpful for us to just kind of treat them all as a base product. And I'm going to give you details on all of them so that ultimately you're going to be able to find the product that actually is suiting your needs. So let's go ahead and talk about like the top 2 base products in my entire collection. Honestly, I go back and forth between the 2 on which I'm gonna wear like on my wedding day. They're both absolutely gorgeous. They're long time favorites. Like since I tried both, they've been a favorite. They've been holy grail. So let's first start off with the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. It's what is on my skin today. And I think the reason it is so stunning and it kind of stands out from a lot of the other foundations on the market at this point is that it has moisture, it sets down on the skin, it doesn't remain really dewy or kind of moves around, so it gives you that longevity. It has beautiful medium coverage that can also be built up, and because the texture is relatively thin, it doesn't start to get creamier and creamier and creamier that you're left with a very heavy finish. There's a beautiful blur. What I find the best about it is when it sets down, it locks in without it looking heavy, and that is a really difficult thing to do. There are plenty of foundations out there that remain dewy and look dewy all day and fresh and beautiful, and we'll talk about some of those because I'll be honest, I love those, and I can just use a powder on top. Without zero powder, you know, this is going to last me all day. I love how much coverage you're getting with so little product. It ends up making for a formula that can give you such a beautifully natural look. And you can see it's called the Light Reflecting Foundation. It has light reflection qualities, but this is not a dewy, over the top kind of product. It is gorgeous. And I think that NARS has not come out with a better product, period. Like, I like a lot of NARS products. Over the years, this I think is the best release that they've ever had. And my other favorite, which I've loved for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, is the Coconut Aqua. The reason this still is a foundation that I wear and go back to over and over is that it is kind of like the slightly more hydrating version of the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. Really thin, water-based foundation, but what it does is it kind of melts directly on the skin and can be slowly built and built up to give you a very perfected, flawless look while, again, also being quite fresh. Now, there's no sunscreen in it. It photographs excellently, so, so beautifully. But when you see your skin in person, it looks good and it looks like your skin. It doesn't look like a mask of product. And that's something that I really focus a lot about, you know, on my channel is that, you know, there's a lot of makeup that looks decent in studio lighting if you're not like zoom, zoom, zoom way in. I want my skin to look good in real life. I'm sorry, I'm not in, I'm not, when I'm in a studio, I'm literally in my basement with a camera. I think that makeup that looks good in real life, that looks like your skin or becomes kind of one with the skin, that is what I always look for. That's my preference. And Coconut Aqua is kind of the epitome of that. Those are the top 2, but I want to get into the 3 other foundations that I think are freaking fantastic. I also want to say there are a couple others that I do use and I really love. I really wanted to kind of slim down the list just a touch. Products like the Shiseido Self-Refreshing Foundation, there's a lot of like question marks next to that product because it looks like it could be reformulated or could be being repackaged. There's just not a lot of information I have about it. Even though I love that, I can't sit here and recommend it today. But let's talk about 2 creamier foundations or, you know, tinted moisturizer kind of products. And then we'll talk about the last one that's more thin after these 2 because we just talked about 2 relatively thin products. Now, I think both of these products are pretty similar, and they're also both kind of similar to like the It Cosmetics CC cream. I would say that the Kosas is a touch thinner, but I wanted to recommend the Kosas Revealer Foundation. I just think that it is so beautiful and so somehow underrated. I love the concealer. We'll talk about the concealer in a second, honestly. This just gives you such a creamy glow to your skin. It still offers a really nice blur, but I just think if you want to look like you have very pretty hydrated skin with more of that creamy finish, more of a medium coverage, I think you'll really enjoy this. I've just found that consistently when I want my makeup to look good, my brain kind of automatically goes back to the Revealer foundation, especially on days when my skin is just feeling a little bit dry. It lasts really well, and part of the reason it looks so good is that it feels nice on the skin. My skin just enjoys having it on. It's just a very hydrating product that feels good when it's actually applied. Same thing goes with the Misha Perfect Cover BB cream. Now, this was kind of a late addition right at the end here, but I've loved this product again since the beginning of my channel. Now, I've tried a lot of the shades, honestly. The shade 13 is a little bit too light for me. The shade range sucks. It just sucks. And honestly, I think that you would be just as happy with your It Cosmetics CC cream. I think the products are very, very similar, but this is more affordable. So, there is that kind of toss up there. I will say that I have kind of consistently always gotten compliments on my skin when I'm wearing this. It is one of those foundations where just gives you such a blur, such a freshness. Like your skin looks so hydrated. Your perfections have just this very soft kind of filter over them, and yet all while being hydrating on the skin blends so easily. Like truly a product you can kind of just throw on. It's stunning. It's just a very, very good product. Lastly, if I want something very, very thin on my skin, I don't really want to feel anything on. The Surratt Dewdrop Foundation is very, very good for that. And I kind of want to recommend this one for folks that deal with more oily skin too. I think you're really gonna love this. It's also a very flexible kind of foundation, so it can kind of be manipulated. If I'm wearing a lot of dewy skin prep, this will lean more dewy. If I set this, it would be quite matte. I don't like the dispenser. I think we've talked about this on my channel a few times. You have to kind of like press it out. It's just annoying. However, it lasts really well. It has a lot of the same kind of qualities that I love out of the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation, but just slightly more skin-like as far as finish. So I would say, if you are an oily skinned person, you want your makeup to feel very thin on the skin, but you still like coverage. You still want to be able to build up the product without it looking heavy and not natural. I feel like you'll absolutely love this one. And I have dry skin and have absolutely loved it this year. Kind of in the world of all of my foundations, I would say this is a little bit more skin-like than I am typically reaching for when it's very dry, like, in the winter. However, in the summer, I was like this, I was wearing it every day, basically. Let's go ahead and talk about concealer. I want to say this. I have had a wild ride with concealer this year. One, I have started to notice the kind of just like general aging of my skin as of recent. I've just noticed, especially around my eyes, is where I've been noticing it. And when I go to apply my concealer, I notice my hollows are a little bit more visible than they typically are. My skin's just a little bit more drier. I'm noticing more fine lines, all these things. This is all also inevitable, and it's something that is really okay. But it has changed the way I look at my concealers, the way I apply them, how I use them, and I wanted to talk about my favorites in today's video. Keeping in mind that I am someone with more hollow under eyes, that has always been something that I'm trying to conceal or correct a little bit. Really hydrating concealers don't necessarily do the job. Very matte ones can actually make it look 10 times worse. So these are like the tried and tested products. I want to first start off with Kosas Revealer. The reason I've loved it for years is that it truly works the best to both hydrate my skin a lot and also conceal the hollows. So if you are looking for something that is both skin loving and also a well-performing product, I think that Kosas still takes the cake. There really is not another product with a dewy finish that also performs this well. Like nothing else really comes close as far as dewier finishes under the eyes. There's one other that I've been loving, but I mean, I'm still gonna pick the Kosas. I think that anyone that struggles with hollow under eyes, it is absolutely worth it to at least test this. Go into Sephora, ask for a sample. It's changed, it really changed everything for me when I bought it and tried it. And again, I'm someone that I'm not gonna sit here and recommend all new products to you guys just because they're new. That's just not in my character, that's not how I run my channel, and I know it can make my content boring to some people. I've made peace with that, I think. I'm not going to recommend, like the whatever concealer just because it's new and it came out in 2024 when I was using this like almost every day and that one for like a month. Anyway, rant over on that. But yeah, it is still the best to me, especially, more during this time of the year when my skin is more dry, when I'm feeling a little bit extra sallow, all of that good stuff. All of that not doesn't feel great, but you guys know what I mean. However, I think that the Tower 28 is absolutely exceptional. And I want to say this, in the summer, I tend to lean and reach for this one because it lasts longer. And I think that if you have more combo to oily skin, but you also do deal with that hollowness under your eyes, you're probably going to prefer this. It's definitely more of a skin-like finish. It's not ultra glowy. It is what is, by the way, under my eyes. It gives a very perfected look. And I gotta tell you, most very, very thin concealers that I use never look this good. Always very drying. This is not one of those concealers. It just kind of blew me away. And it's absolutely gorgeous. Like, gosh, I try so many concealers. I'm always holding out like this little bit of hope, but like the cynicism is like, here, we have something very different on our hands. And it has continued to impress me since then. Also beautiful all over the face if you wanted to do that too. But let's talk about concealers for all over the face. These two were my most used for under the eyes, but we can't forget about the face. I dealt with some hormonal acne this year. You guys, I'm 31 years old now. The hormonal acne comes and goes and I mean, I've struggled on and off with it since I've been 14. Like sometimes it's worse than other times, but I have needed concealers to do the concealing that also don't make my skin feel suffocated. I have to tell you, as a quick out the door concealer, the CL Conceal and Protect SPF 50, I have used this like under the eyes as well, and I've really enjoyed the coverage. The coverage is actually quite intense, but it has this kind of whipped consistency, really quite pleasant on under the eyes. Think about like a whipped cream that is very, very softly forming a peak. That is kind of the texture of this. Beautiful glide, beautiful coverage. Again, it's not going to conceal a hollow quite as much as something like the Kosas, but I think that every time I wear it, I start to love it more and more and more, and that makes me incredibly excited. And in fact, I have some other CL products that I'm going to talk about in today's video that have been favorites. Last year, the CL Tint and Protect was in Best of Beauty 2023. I just am very excited about this brand. And lastly, for more intense kind of longevity as far as concealing blemishes, the Forever Skin Correct from Dior is what I would recommend and what I use. Now, I also love using this all over the face for like a quick out the door kind of makeup. The coverage is very good, medium to high coverage on this one. Not the first I would choose for under my eyes, but also not bad either. I've heard people really love it typically for under the eyes, but you guys know, again, I'm quite picky. Obviously, I'm actually kind of neurotic. with my concealers, but it really does do an incredible job of concealing blemishes, and I've just been needing that, needing something to perform, to set down, and to really last and look beautiful. And the Dior has done that. And again, all over the face, it looks gorgeous as like a foundation. And if I put on like, for example, the Ilia Face Base Milk, or the Haru Haru Wonder kind of all over the face, I have that kind of glassy skin glow. Couple swipes of this, and then I have this really pretty light coverage tinted moisturizer. You know, I'm really getting my bang, I'm getting the bang of, what am I trying to say? I'm getting a good bang out of my buck when I use this product in all those ways. Let's go ahead, let's continue on into bronzer. Now, since we were already just talking about the CL, let's go ahead and talk about the CL Bronze and Protect SPF 50. Now, this is the Bronze 01 shade. It is the bronzer that I actually have on my face. Now, this is a tint, like an SPF 50 bronzing tint. You can add it to like your moisturizer, you can add it to a foundation to make it darker. You know, it's a multifunctional product, but I really have been loving it just as a liquid bronzer. And I like this actually more than the Ciel stick bronzer that they came out with. I love the color, it's more neutral. It gives me this really nice sculpt. And I find, again, because of I think the mineral SPF in here, it gives me a very consistent kind of coverage to my skin while it's also while it's also a bronzer. There's not like a ton of translucence necessarily within it, which sometimes I want, sometimes I don't. With a bronzer, I think sometimes when I think the base is too translucent, it can actually start to look muddy because if the blend isn't 100%, you'll have spots of your skin kind of shining through, and that's when you get that more muddy kind of effect. Now, the CL does not do that, and I feel sculpted when I have it on. I feel really bronzed and pretty, and it is multifunctional again in the sense that if I felt like just putting a little bit of this into my, say, glow drops or any of the foundations, I could. So for that alone, I think it's not only a beautiful product formula-wise, it's also quite versatile. Love the green packaging. I mean, clearly you guys know that I'm gonna love this packaging. This is like one of my favorite colors ever. But yeah, bravo to CL for this liquid bronzer. I think they just did an incredible job with it. Other bronzers. I have a few. I'm gonna say for like quick makeup, the Dew Bronze from Say, I was pretty much using this because pull this out, you swipe it all over the face and you're done. It's not gonna be the most long lasting cream bronzer, but it does consistently look very, very pretty. The shade Sand is gorgeous, but I've also loved the lighter, more warm shade. I think that as far as very quick, pretty makeup, it is at the top of the list. This is easier to use than the CL because the CL is quite pigmented. If I need to be out the door in 5 minutes, I'm probably gonna reach for this because I know I can kind of swipe it all over the face, get a really pretty, I don't know, kind of girl next door bronzer effect, and then I'm good. By the way, it's dewy, but it's not like glossy dewy, which is nice. Very consistent item. For powder bronzer, this has kind of been a different one for me. You know, I always go back and recommend and reach for the Gucci bronzer. It's quite matte, so if you don't like a more matte bronzer, I mean, this is probably the most matte bronzer I've ever used that I've actually liked. But it does just offer this very perfected look. I think as far as powder bronzers with that really special glamorous kind of look that aren't muddy, that aren't chalky, that give you a super easy, smooth blend, I would always go back and recommend the Gucci because it's consistently given me that effect. And again, when I want to have that more glam kind of look, that's the one I'm gonna reach for. Or if I just want to kind of like set everything in place, because that's more on the matte side, it will kind of set all of the rest of the makeup that I've had under it. So that's always really nice. Now the Florasis palette. This is the one, I have two now. I have this one, and then where's the other one? This is the 02. It's the Eastern Beast Sculpting palette. Now this one is a little bit deeper. I don't use this one quite as much, but As far as bronzers go, I mean, I had to recommend this as like my 5-minute makeup palette because I have a beautiful blush, a beautiful bronzer, I have a setting powder, and then I have a highlight. I could literally just like pop this onto the eyes and be out the door. As far as like some of my favorite bronzers go, this is one of my favorite. It is so silky smooth, just a very luxurious kind of cream gel formula that's then baked. And so it just has this really luxurious smoothness to it in the formula itself. You know, for so long I hated a lot of powder bronzers. This one is excellent. And if I'm doing 5-minute quick out the door makeup, there's a good chance I'm using this. So I felt like it deserved a spot, and we'll talk about one other highlight later, but I might as well mention that, like, as far as powder highlights, this was the only one I used this year. The other one was a cream. So, like, top powder highlight is in this palette. This is the 01 palette, the lighter of the two. But one last bronzer, the Surratt Soleil Dough Artistic Bronzer. If you know their powder formulas, if you've used their mattes, this is a very similar formula. It has this silkiness, definitely packs the pigment though. And I think for folks that really like that blurred kind of matte look, you're just gonna really like this. And again, when you pair something like this from Surratt with their Dewdrop foundation, for those of you with like, I really want to say, for those of you with more combination skin, if you haven't used like any of the powder products from Surratt, we're going to talk about a palette later, or the Dewdrop. These I feel like are meant for combo skin, especially. I have dry skin and I love them, but like the blur of this, way it's matte, but kind of like appears a little bit creamy on the skin. It's just luxurious and gorgeous. But anyway, but yeah, this was a kind of a hidden gem that I found this year. I was like not expecting to fall in love with this product when I tried it. And then I looked in the mirror, I was like, wait a second, hold, you know, I was like, hold the phone. We got to keep testing this one. And it became a favorite pretty fast actually. Now, one powder before we get into blush, just I got to mention the powder before I forget about it. Kosas Cloud Set. Now, this is the shade Candy. This is more of the pink shade. Love this for under the eyes, but the shade Airy is just as beautiful for all over. I really have noticed more recently, again, I've been talking to you guys about kind of the skin changes that I've been going through. I've noticed that a little bit of powder actually does my skin a lot of good, just to add a little bit of extra blur. And this one really delivers. It's very thin and lightweight on the skin, so it's not gonna look like a ton of powder, and yet it actually really does a good job of setting the makeup. I noticed that it just softly takes down the shine, almost like without really looking like necessarily a powder, and I feel like that's kind of what a lot of us want. At least that's what I want, and Kosas Cloud Set delivers every single time. It really is that last minute kind of perfected little hidden gem. Not that it's a hidden gem, but like that last minute hidden technique that I use just to make everything look a little bit more polished. Now, I also wanted to recommend, and I just realized I forgot, another bronzer. You guys, doing Best of Beauty in the middle of moving was not a good idea. This video has been a hard one to nail down just because like everything is everywhere, and I screwed myself a little bit with pulling out a lot of makeup while everything was already packed away and organized. But alas, it had to happen, in my opinion. I like to see the product in front of me. I've always been like that. NYX Butter Bronze. Very, very pigmented bronzer, but I gotta tell you that if you're not afraid of a little pigment, if you can kind of put your brush into the powder, tap off a little excess, and then apply it on, it is stunning. It's a very, very good one. You can really build it up. It offers this really kind of silky finish, very blurring and pretty. I see that personally as a luxury formula. It really, really performs. And I just absolutely loved that this summer. I felt like it helped the overall longevity of my makeup. Similar, I would actually say, to the Gucci bronzer, a little bit thicker as far as the powder goes, a little bit more kickback and more pigment. So the Gucci is going to be easier if you are a person that like you like to just throw a brush in and apply it all over. But if you don't mind a little bit more pigment and you want to save yourself some cash, just take a little bit more time to use the product. I think that the NYX has a very gorgeous formula. I'm really glad I remembered to say that one because it's already packed away. I don't have it, but it is gorgeous and definitely deserves a spot in Best of Beauty 2024. Now let's go ahead and talk about blush. I think that if you watched my red blush video, you're gonna see a lot of similar favorites. There's a couple that weren't in that video that aren't red, but you know, I wear red blush a lot and I really, really enjoy it. Actually, the blush, I actually have 3 blushes on my skin today. I want to share with you all 3 because they're all 3 Best of Beauty. And I think it'll also give you kind of a scope of the blush formulas and the textures that I've really enjoyed this year. So the base of this look is Merit Rouge, the Flush Balm. Beautiful translucent red. It's gonna work for a lot of people. It just has this gorgeous balminess to it. Just shears right out over the cheeks, offers this gorgeous glow without it being greasy, heavy. I personally love it because in the summer, it kind of lets my skin shine through. It's really good for like no makeup days, but again, I wear it with more of a medium coverage just fine. And it's just stunning. I love using it on the lips as well. You know, I'll just do that and it kind of adds this really pretty soft red flush. It's a red that also doesn't turn super pink. I've noticed that a lot of reds can do that, or they can also be very like cool toned, almost like plummy red. This is just, you love that kind of strawberry, tomatoey flush. You're gonna love this. It's just so good. And then the other cream I have on is Toasted Teddy from Rhode. This is the, you know, the darkened, more brown version of red. So if it's summertime, if it's spring, good chance I'll probably wear the Merit. If I'm going for a little bit more drama, if I want a little bit more toastiness to my makeup look, I will probably go with Toasted Teddy from Rhode. I actually think the Toasted Teddy formula and the Rhode Pocket Blushes in general are very, very good. The way they kind of just give you this really soft blur, it's just fantastic. They're just very, very good, and they're gonna work for a lot of different people because of the formula and the texture that they are, because they aren't overly glossy, because they have that nice blur, and because they just kind of swipe on and blend very effortlessly. They also have more of a silicone slip, but not too much silicone that they kind of break up oddly or don't want to melt into the skin in your other makeup. So they honestly kind of killed it with this formula. So as far as cream products go, I wore these a lot, a lot. I have others I'll talk about, but this is what I set everything with. Dior Cherry. I don't even know what to say about Dior Cherry. I feel the same way about Dior Coral. All of my powder blushes left my collection, but I still had Dior Cherry and the Coral Dior. You guys, they're my favorite. They're the best, so I would be okay with it. The reason I think these powder blushes work so well is that they have decent pigment, but they're incredibly thin and very densely pressed in the pan. You do have to work to get the pigment out, but what you're actually left with is a very lightweight veil of blush that just kind of softly glides over the cheeks. And I don't really know how to describe it, especially with the coral shade. It goes onto the cheeks and just immediately brightens up the complexion. It doesn't look like a lot of powder on the skin. It just looks like it's kind of radiating from within your skin because it's so thin, because of the texture. Maybe I'll put on a little bit more just so you guys can kind of get another look, even though I'm sure that I've packed this video with demos. But like just a little bit really somehow amplifies the naturalness of a makeup look, in my opinion. Partially that is due to the color, depending on what color you get, because I think that red blush looks almost like it's kind of coming from within the skin because our skin turns red. Obviously, that's going to depend on your skin tone, but for me, this looks like that true flush coming from within the skin. It actually makes me look like I'm wearing less makeup because of it in a weird way, but also in a very beautiful way. For a really gorgeous kind of pink flush, the Fenty Petal Poppin' Suede powder blush was what I was reaching for. When it says suede, this has this really, really silky texture to it. And it leaves, you see that kind of finish? It leaves that finish on your skin. Very blurring, kind of feels like creamy plushy on the fingers and then onto the cheeks. It just offers that same kind of suedey blur. And the color is gorgeous. I mean, I love this color. Half of the reason I love this is because the texture is gorgeous. Half the reason is because I think this color just works really well for me. You know, a pinky coral consistently has always treated me well. I feel like I could mention the Armani Luminous Silk cheek tint in 41 Flaming Red. It's hard because I reach for rouge so much, but if I do want a really silky, thin, fluid red blush, I'm going to go for this. So this is kind of like an honorable mention product that I wanted to recommend. I think very easily could be in Best of Beauty 2025. I would just need to keep using it more and more. Let's go ahead and talk about a highlight before we get into the eyes. The Hints highlight. This is essentially, it's a dupe for like the Chanel Balm Essential, but it's just the most natural, soft, glossy highlight without feeling greasy, sticky. It's not a heavy highlight. Very similar to something like the Merit highlight balms, the Chanel, but this has a little bit of a dry down, not completely dried down, but it doesn't feel sticky on the skin while offering a really gorgeous glossy effect. It gives you that glassy glow for sure, but the pearl is very soft. And there's almost a touch of translucence in the balm itself. So it doesn't feel like a stripe of pigment either, which is really nice. Because more of those stripey like stick highlights that just kind of feel like, you know, like a metallic glitter. This is not that at all. It's kind of the antithesis of that. Now getting into the eyes. 3 palettes. Danessa Myricks Groundwork palette consistently has been Best of Beauty since I think I've tried it. I use that neutral palette constantly. It is my most neutral. It's an all matte palette with the cream putty and the corresponding shade of that putty in a powder format so that you can actually set, you can carve out a completely cream look, a completely matte look. You can, again, mix and match. It's stunning. It is the best neutral palette that I've used, and I use it constantly. You know, as far as investment pieces when it comes to makeup, that is kind of a no-brainer if you want to get a ton of use out of something because it is so multifunctional. I will consistently recommend that product. It's just the best. As far as neutral palettes go, it is the best one that I have tried personally. But let's say you want a little bit more variety. The Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. This has seen better days. It's been broken up a bit. I think that if you want like a very classic look like the one that I have, you want a little bit of a flick, you want a little bit of a wet eyeshadow, you want a touch of a definition in the eye, you will get that with this palette and you will get it very consistently. It's an all-in-one, all the formulas are gorgeous. It's the best Natasha Denona palette that I have tried. I love the color story. It's just fantastic. And I go back and recommend it over and over again because there aren't a lot of palettes that give me a truly all-in-one effect where I don't even feel like I'm missing anything. Like the look that I have on right now is with a few products. We'll talk about them in a second. I very easily could have gotten this look with this palette. Make with that what you will. As far as palettes go, this is one of my favorites. It leans slightly more on the cool side, which I actually personally like. But as far as cream shadows go, the Nabla Cupid's Arrow cream shadows have just been treating me so well. Typically, I'm going to use this shade, Cappuccino. It's kind of like this more slightly like mustardy taupe shade into the crease. Beautiful crease shade. I'll carve out a wing with either the black or a dark brown shade. And I just love how flexible they are. They're creamy, but they set down. They're not like the most budge-proof cream shadows you'll ever wear, but I think they're a nice balance of being creamy and workable, but also it being a stylo is very easy to work with. You can also use this all over the face. You know, they're very multifunctional. They don't have to just be an eye product, and I just find them consistently really beautiful, especially for applying all over the lids to kind of set everything. Yeah, typically I would use like a darker shade out of the Nabla, like this one, the shade Arrow number 2. I'll just take it right on the corner of my eye like that. Again, I'm kind of like whacking it on, and then I'll go ahead into my 208 from BK, which you guys know this is a holy grail and best of beauty for sure. And then I'll just flick out that little wing, my more signature smoky wing that I wear almost pretty much every time I do my makeup. They make it like so freaking easy. This is like how you get it very quickly. We'll talk about one quad and then let's get into more shiny items. Surratt Beyond Beige. It's sold out like everywhere. I don't know why. I hope it's not being discontinued. But as far as a neutral all-in-one palette, this is probably what I'm going to be reaching for, like for every day. I love this shade too because it looks gorgeous with green eyes. And sometimes I just really want my eyes to pop while also being more neutral. I love this more taupey shade. Again, like a taupe with a touch of yellow just really sings to me. And then I'll go ahead and take that deeper brown, do that little wing. And I'll show you. I love using a cream and then setting with a powder. The powders are incredibly soft and blendable while still like packing that pigment. It's just they're just delightful to work with. They really are. I love a lot of Surratt now, like a lot of their products. I think still this is my favorite. I think it's still my top pick, and I love a lot, like I said. All right, but let's go ahead and talk about sparkly stuff. Let's talk about single shadows. What has been kind of interesting for me is because of the emergence of this more signature eye look that I have on today, I'm not reaching for a single shadow, or I didn't as much in 2024. Which is kind of bizarre because for years I have been like that's kind of been on repeat for me. But these are the ones that I think deserve the recognition. So Victoria Beckham Lip Lusters, the shade Velvet is one of my favorite makeup products ever. This green, the color is perfect. The pigment, the glossy effect on the eyes, while this is just literally like a pressed glitter powder. It is ultimate luxury. And then Mink from Victoria Beckham is no different. It's the same one shadow, incredible color, gorgeous wet gunmetal shade. Both of these, again, consistently favorites for me. I would feel wrong to not include them because they're just stunning. They're just still, they still hit that part of me that even if I'm not going to wear them every day, I still think that they're like one of the best makeup products I've tried. You know what I mean? Same thing goes with Rich Well Defee Half Light. This is actually the shade Fauna that I'm holding up. If you're into that model off duty one and done, it is just this gorgeous sooty neutral. It's essentially a pigment that's been mixed with oil and then pressed, but when you put it back on the eyes, it warms up and looks so delightful and creamy. That is still one of the best one and done shadows I've ever used, and I wanted to give that one a shout out in this video, even though it's packed up somewhere and I have no idea where it is. I would like to give a shout out to Still at the Club from Patrick Ta, in specific this like glitter, the glitter side of it. It is definitely one of the prettiest glitters I've ever used. But if you have something like Mink from Victoria Beckham, or you have Smoky Quartz from Charlotte Tilbury, this is in the same vein as those. You don't need this if you already have those. I just do like the extra wet, extra glisten of this. This tends to have that. Another shout out to two affordable eyeshadows, the Judy Doll. This is G44, the soft color shine eyeshadow. This is like the Space Cowboy dupe. I'm actually wearing Space Cowboy though, I'll be honest, on my eyes today because this is what I saw first. But I mean, this will always be a holy grail, but if you want an affordable version of that, that actually is a little bit less beigey in the base pigment, I think you'll actually like this more. The glitters are also a little bit more prevalent. Judy Doll really stole my heart this year with a lot of their products, but this was my favorite, and continues to be. Just absolutely excellent. And then the e.l.f. Finest Fleck Glitter Shadows. I wanted to give these kind of an honorable mention spot. For me personally, if you're like, Amanda, I want to try the e.l.f. Finest Fleck Glitter Shadows, like this one is Filthy Rich. I gotta be honest here, I would almost say just if you can, it's hard because e.l.f. is more accessible. So you're gonna be able to find this potentially at the drugstore or at Ulta. I would say go ahead and pick this up if you just want something that is this more cool toned, glossy kind of brown. But I do prefer the Judy Doll in G03. It's thinner, it's more wet and reflective. This is still very affordable the way that the e.l.f. is, but it's just not as accessible. You have to get it through, Yes Style. So I'll leave links down below, but I definitely think that you guys will be able to get a very similar effect with the e.l.f. But if I'm really thinking about Best of Beauty, I don't think that this is like the best eyeshadow that I used this year. I think that the Judy Doll really stole my heart. Lashes. I also want to talk about brows. I need to not forget to talk about brows because sometimes I do. So the Ritual Defeat Levitation Lash. This is going to give you those beautiful angel eyes, that really angelic, fluffy lash. I need to, like, literally right after this video, order another one of these because if you do prefer more of a natural bristle as far as mascaras, this is probably the best I've tried. I was just not expecting to love it as much as I do. It's more of a flat, or it's a straight wand, but it just offers the blackest black pigment to the lashes, makes them look so fluffy, so long. It really does create that beautiful framed effect on the eyes, really lengthens, but also adds good volume. It's fantastic. Way more people need to talk about this one. And then Tower 28 Make Waves, as you guys know. It is a classic. If you prefer a rubberized wand, I would go with the Tower 28. It's the one I'm wearing too, by the way. You can just keep building and building to really customize the look that you want. It definitely adds a lot of length, but because it's more of a banana shape, it still gets under the lashes and really pushes them up. But something that is different about the banana shape of this wand is you can see it's not exaggerated. And I think that that's what actually makes this kind of push the lashes straight up more and really lengthen it. Whereas I think sometimes with too much of a banana shape, it can actually make the lashes look more natural, and that can, that's pretty too. You can use one coat of this and get a really pretty natural look though. But if you actually want to be able to build volume and build a ton of length, you need something with a slightly straighter wand. And this has both the curve that you want to get something natural and a little bit more straightness that will actually build. It's fantastic. I've loved both of these for years. I am such a huge person when it comes to lash curlers. I think that folks with more rounded eyes will prefer the Kevyn Aucoin. If you have rounder eyes, I say go with the Kevyn Aucoin. If you have more of an almond eye shape, I would go with the Shiseido. I personally love both. These are excellent quality. They're not going to tug on your lashes. They will give you a hold, and they actually do the job well. God, I feel like I've kind of gone into this rant so many times on my channel that I just don't feel like doing it again. But if I can just convert one person for my video, I think it will be like a job well done. Throw out your old crappy eyelash curler that you bought for like $2 and get a very well-made eyelash curler. This is like one of those makeup investment products that I will go back and recommend over and over. It actually makes any mascara look a lot better. Actually will hold a curl, and you will notice the way it really opens up the eyes. Does an incredible job. For brows, Anastasia Brow Wiz just killed it this year. I revisited it and it's just the best in my opinion. I love the formula. It's a touch waxy, but it has decent pigment, but not too much pigment to look very graphic very easily. So I think it's a cult classic for a reason, and it's still, in my opinion, the best. I just love it. and I get my best brow days when I'm using it. As far as brow gels go, I love the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. This is more so for like quick makeup though. Because it's so big, I can just like, set the brows very quickly in place. The wand, the bristles have a lot of space in between them, so it gives you a very natural kind of fluffed out look rather than it dispersing a ton of gel onto the lashes very quickly. And again, because it's a larger brush, you can basically handle half your brow with one swipe. So it's very fast. But my favorite brow gel I've ever used is actually the Infinite Hold from Make Beauty. That I get the best brow looks with that. My brows look gorgeous. For those of you with very long eyebrow hairs, or you just really love a true heavy hold as far as like your brows will not move, please try that one. It is freaking fantastic. And they have a few ones. You want the Infinite Hold. It's in the red tube. I'll leave a link down below. I always find in my videos when I'm like revisiting and I'm looking at my makeup and I'm like, my makeup looked good that day. Like, what was I using? If I'm having a good brow day, I'm almost 9 times out of 10 using that product. I just discovered it, I'm pretty sure this year, like very earlier in the year. And yeah, it completely turned my brow world around. I don't know where it is. It's kind of the, the thing that I've been saying for this entire video. I do not know where it is. So I'm not wearing it today, and I do wonder if I would like my brows more if I was. I think my thought process might be actually, I might actually. We're gonna talk about lips. I don't have all of the lip products in front of me, but I do have a list of the ones I needed to make sure I recommended. Number 1 is Clinique Hydro Boost Lip Balm. I just gotta tell you guys, like, I can't sing the praises of this lip balm enough. I want anyone that could try it in store, I mean, obviously safely, hopefully. It's just the best lip balm. It is freaking fantastic, and I do not know why more people don't talk about it. I consider it to be one of the biggest hidden gems, period, in the makeup industry. Like, I'm sorry to be dramatic, but like everyone comes out with a lip balm. There are lip balms, lip oils, just so many lip products constantly coming out. And then this little Clinique Hydro Boost is just sitting on the shelf and no one is buying it. And it just heals your lips immediately within a day. Gorgeous texture, just feels like Aquaphor going on the lips, but works better than an Aquaphor. I'm telling you guys, like, especially if you are someone that you're like, I will only use Vaseline or I will only use Aquaphor, you will see the difference when you use it. It still has that really thin texture and not like an overly glossy finish, but the formula sings, and I do think that it will heal your lips faster. Wish more people knew about it. I really do. The Fui pudding pots, they just blew up this year, and I was someone that was like, I don't know. I love the texture, but like, how good could this actually be? Well, eating my words because they're amazing. This is the shade My. So I've been using this shade Ambitious a lot. It's a red shade, but I want to show you guys really quickly the shade My because I feel like I'm just getting a lot of comments asking about it. And it is just, look at this. It's like the perfect everyday lip shade. Gorgeous blur. I mean, this is applied over a bunch of other stuff with like just a finger and it looks like that. I use it on the lips, I use it on the cheeks. If there was one product that I could try every shade of and actually do a lip swatch video, that has never really interested me before, unless with like the volumizing glossy balms from Hourglass, which are another holy grail. The only other product that I feel would be so fun and interesting to do a lip swatch video of, like with every shade, it would be these Fui pudding pots. They have blown me away. And they actually perform on the lips and the cheeks. A lot of brands, they'll just throw that on their product. They're like, you can use it on the lips and the cheeks. And you're like, did you even test it? Because now my cheek looks like it has lip oil on it. No, this is sincerely beautiful on both the lips and the cheeks. They're so good, you guys. You know, a lot of K-beauty stole my heart with lip products. I did like really go back to a lot of K-beauty products. this year, and I've been trying out a ton of Asian beauty in general. I did recently do a K-beauty video of like my top in every category, so I highly suggest you guys check out that video. But as far as my everyday lip product that I just like would throw on, it was the Roman Juicy Lasting Tint in the shade Pomelo Skin. I also love the shade Dark Coconut. This is just the perfect everyday lip because there's no transfer. It leaves a nice glossy finish. It has the most beautiful juicy scent. It's just like fresh juice, like a little sweeter than fresh juice, I'll be honest. Like they add a little sugar to that juice. Just delightfully translucent and glossy, but again, you're not dealing with a lot of transfer necessarily. So I'm also able to get really precise lip lines that will last, which I like. You know, a lot of lipsticks will just fade and then you don't have any lip product on. You can just reapply. I'm not a huge reapply person, I'll be honest. That's why I reach for lip stains. At least half the time I put something on my lips. It's because I can immediately draw my little Cupid's bow, line the lips, take a little bit on the rest of the lips, blot it out, and I have like really crisp lip lines and a really natural lip look for the entire day. And as someone with very like light lip lines, that is what I want. I don't even necessarily want a ton of color. I want more of I want more of a shape to my lips, and this will give it to me. And again, with a lip stain, because it is literally staining your skin, you can't even see the lip product eventually. It just kind of looks like your lips are naturally like that, which is so nice. Yeah, this is probably one of my top used everyday lip products of all time. So affordable. So it's just kind of like best of both worlds. But if I reached for a lipstick this year, it was Sochi, the Ceramide Lip Slick, and Speak Easy. I mean, how I really put a dent in this one this year because this is what I had on before I put on the My lip shade. Just effortless glide. If you have very dry lips, if you deal with cracking in the lips, if you deal with fine lines on the lips, and every time you put on a lipstick, it kind of looks waxy or unforgiving on those lip lines. You know how sometimes you put on a lipstick and you're hoping that the hydration is going to make the lips look better and somehow it makes them look worse? Look no further. This has the beautiful kind of ceramide creamy texture, but almost a little bit of translucence that it's not like white, creamy, very matte lipstick, way more of a satin finish, not completely full coverage. It's very natural. I think anyone, to me, and I know this is gonna hurt some feelings. I just have to say it because you know, it's important to me that I'm honest with you guys. If you're a fan of like the classic Revlon lipsticks that everyone loves, oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this. This is like the elevated, like nourishing on the lips feel and looks more natural and nourishing on the lips, like version of those. This is just the best one I've tried, and I hate to say that because again, it's more expensive, but it is the truth for me. That has been my experience. My favorite lip gloss has been Clinique Black Honey, the lip gloss. It is just the best. I don't know why more people, again, Clinique with their little hidden gems. Everyone loves Black Honey. Have all of those people that love Black Honey tried the gloss? Because the gloss is like ridiculously beautiful. If you love a plushy gloss that doesn't feel really oily or heavy, feels feels really comforting, just has this really gorgeous glide and gives you this jelly-like fill in the lines of your lips kind of look, please try Clinique Black Honey, the gloss. It is so fantastic. It's so, so beautiful. I've loved that one since I tried it. And then I tried it and I was like, wait a second. More people need to talk about this product. Love the texture. The texture is just fantastic. Another texture that I really loved is the Nature Republic Honey Melting Lip, but this shade, because this is a red, I wonder if I would have gotten more use out of another shade. So this isn't a full recommendation. It's just a be on the lookout because I'm gonna place an order for this. It was one of my favorite textures I tried, but The shade I just didn't get enough use out of to make it best of beauty. And for setting spray, we have the Tier Mask Fit Makeup Fixer. Beautiful fine mist, leaves a nice radiant kind of finish. But still melts everything in and makes it last longer. But if you want something that is going to just lock everything in and not let anything move, I would go with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Mist. So if you want more matte and like true long wear, I would go with Charlotte Tilbury. For everyday makeup setting purposes, I would go with the Tier. And now let's get into kind of my etc. items. But these products, they're so good. You know, I review a lot of makeup, but a lot of my heart and soul are also in these items. I have 3 favorite sunscreens of the year. The Kiss Me Mommy SPF. The Kiss Me Mommy SPF. I'm not leaning down to get that. I'll just pick up this one, my new one. God, if you have not tried this, it's so good, guys. It's one of those products that you're like, I wonder if I had never tried that, what would that be like? Because it's just so good and I use it every day that it actually, I feel like, would have a bit of an impact. This lightweight lotion melts on the skin, does not leave a heavy finish. Perfect for under makeup because it is thin. If you have oily skin, you could literally use that as your moisturizer because there's actually a lot of beneficial ingredients in here. Like I think there's cranberry oil in here. Oh no, it's raspberry oil. No stinging around the eyes, no weird chemical SPF scent. If that was the only sunscreen that I had access to, I would be like, I would not be mad at all because it is fantastic. My favorite Japanese sunscreen. My second favorite Japanese sunscreen is the Can Make Mermaid Gel. Love that one for more of a glowy finish. It's a little slightly thicker, kind of good for those of you that are like, oh, I have this glow lotion product and I kind of use that as like a pearly primer kind of product. Just, I would say, focus on maybe, I would say maybe try that product from Can Make if that's what you're using, because you're just going to get SPF 50 with it. Could be a really ideal primer for a lot of folks. And then my favorite K-Beauty sunscreen is the Isntree Hyaluronic Acid SPF 50. A little bit of a glowier finish than the Kiss Me, or the Isan, I should say. But it's just stunning. No weird burning on the eyes. Again, no drying alcohols. And a lot of Asian sunscreens, more than you would think, have drying alcohols in them. And I really try and stay away from them. These have been my favorite. Now I am trying out a lot of Asian sunscreens right now. So if you guys are interested in that journey, definitely make sure you're subscribed, or that if you're already subscribed, just have your notifications on. I think I'm going to do like a big roundup video. Also, what is in my eye right now? God. Oh my God, guys. So of course, right at the home stretch of the video, I got something in this eye, and then just my eye has been running. So I'm just putting on a little bit of concealer right now. I'm showing you guys because I'm sure some of you are going to be like, what is going on? Like her makeup looks different. But anyway, we're going to try and venture forth. So other skincare products, you know, my skin has been kind of all over the place this year. I did find comfort though in a few items, so I wanted to share them with you. The first is there's Cetaphil Moisturizing Cream. I've tried the lotion. I've tried a lot of Cetaphil products actually by now. This is still my favorite. I actually dropped it, so it kind of cracked open. I don't know if you guys can see. Can you see how much I've used? I use it hands, all over the body, all over the face, done. Like when I don't feel like doing a routine, out of the shower, I just take a ton of this. Again, literally scoop all over my face, all over the chest, all over the body, hands, even on the lips, and then I'm done. Because this is essentially, if you look at the ingredients, it's water, glycerin, and petrolatum. You also have sunflower seed oil, sweet almond oil. So this is just like a very basic moisturizer that is just going to work. So it has the water and glycerin, and then it has petrolatum as like the sealant. So this is just, again, it's very basic, but if your skin is going through it, you kind of, that's what you want. You want very basic. And yeah, it's excellent. If you have very sensitive skin, I highly recommend it. There are actually some times in my life where I wish I had tried this earlier. And I didn't use this whole thing by myself. My boyfriend likes it as well. This is 16 ounces of product that I've used over the year. So if that tells you how much I like it, I think I think that this Cetaphil, the moisturizing cream, is bomb. Again, I like the cream more than the lotion, which I thought would be the other way around. And then I have a couple of products from U Beauty. The U Beauty Super Hydrator as well as the Resurfacing Compound. Listen, they are expensive, but they really, really worked. The Resurfacing Compound is mostly AHAs, I believe. It just immediately offers a brightening effect to my skin. If you have more dry skin and you're worried about using a chemical exfoliant, this one is more of a gel kind of texture. You pump it out and then apply it all over. And I just find that my skin brightens up, remains more hydrated and more nourished because I'm clearing away the dead skin cells. Dark spots fade. I actually find that it does actually help with clearing hormonal acne. Of course, like a lot of topicals are not going to get to the root of the problem, but it does an incredible job at kind of turning over the skin cells so that it's less likely to happen again. And then the Super Hydrator is just this gorgeous, hydrating, thinner kind of lotion serum. And it's an emulsion of oils. So if you don't like a very oily oil, like you don't want to put on a facial oil, this is essentially like an emulsion that just immediately nourishes, barrier repairing, skin loving. Like my skin just drinks this up and is so, so happy every time I use it. There's peptides, avocado oil, shea butter, argan oil, grapeseed oil, and my skin just loves it. It really does. You know, I'm trying out a lot of new Asian skincare now, but I feel like I would be amiss if I didn't let you guys know that these are the products that like really carried my skin through this year when my skin was freaking out. One more skincare item that also did that, the Peace Out acne patches. You guys, I've tried a lot. And again, I've tried very affordable. I've tried Asian ones. I've tried drugstore options. These are the best. My best recommendation to you all would be to get a pack and then take it out and cut them. You see how I've already cut this? I just cut them. They're large, so I can use them basically twice. So you basically get double, hopefully, the amount of patches from them, but they're fantastic. They actually hold and draw out all of the gunk from a pimple rather than a lot that I think they get full and then they stop pulling. Think of it this way. It's like one ply sheet toilet paper for some acne patches, and then there's like 3 ply. This is that, and then this also has aloe vera, salicylic acid, and retinol. When I had like an underground pimple a few years ago, this pimple had been on my cheek for it was like a 3-month kind of pimple thing. Put on one of these like every day for a week. Then like at the end of that, I took it off one day and it had just taken the entire core of the pimple out and it was gone. I was flabbergasted because I had that pimple for months and nothing helped. So since then, I've consistently bought and repurchased and repurchased and repurchased. I don't even know how many times I've repurchased these. And I'm someone that likes to save money as far as skincare goes. Like my favorite sunscreens are all affordable. At the end of the day, I just want performance. These perform even though they are a touch more expensive. For nail polish, I have 3 favorites. Ironically, I'm not wearing either of them on my nails today. But I have 3 favorites. I have my favorite from Can Make. I'll leave up a demo of that one. I have my Dior Nail Glow, and then I also have my Kerr Illuminating Nail Concealer in the pink illuminating color. I love a very, very natural nail, and these have been my favorite. I can't help but, I don't even know if I want to say this because it's a little bit, because it's kind of scary. I have this little thing inside me. I wonder if I could do it better. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that, like me coming out with a nail polish, but I love basically your nails but better, a really illuminated, healthy nail look. And this one, though I love it, it can be a little bit too gloopy and it doesn't dry very fast. The Dior Nail Glow has been a favorite for a long time, but it chips pretty easily. And then my Can Make one is really nice as well, but I wish it just had a touch more base pigment. It's just not exactly what I'm looking for. I am very happy with all three, but I just kind of wonder if there might be a world where I try it myself. I don't know. Let's talk about fragrance. I just did an entire fragrance video, so I'm not really gonna stay here for too long, and then we're gonna get into hair, which I think you guys are gonna be excited about hair. I'm just gonna throw out 3 fragrance favorites. I think most worn this year is Father Figure from Fleur. The most luscious, musky, warm, but also fresh fig kind of woodsy smell. Very gender neutral, very confident when I have on Father Figure. I love the kind of fresh fig notes. I love that it does have slight notes of vanilla, but it is still woodsy. It still has sandalwood, divine, and I think Fleur's underrated gem. A newer favorite that is sliding into Best of Beauty right at the end is Naughty Nona from Sniff. This has been my classic holiday fragrance this year. It is the most delicious, very, very delicious, like spiced cake smell, like fruit cake. It definitely has notes of those like, you know, like dates or cranberries that have been baked. Delightful, but it's gingery, cinnamony, has that vanilla scent, but this isn't straight vanilla. So I think it's more complex. I like that it's spicy, but it kind of has that baked, good, almost yeasty quality to it as well. Very, honestly, very impressed. I haven't sniffed any sniff products. This is my first immediate, holy grail, and now I'm just like, what else has this brand come out with? Because this is insane and also relatively affordable. And for like this magnetized closure, and the packaging is quite cute. I mean, I'm very impressed with that brand so far. And then body oil, the Caudalie Smooth and Glow Elixir Oil. I already have a backup. If you love a green, really earthy kind of smell, not for someone that like needs gourmand, as far as, oh my God, every time I put this on, I'm just like, it's so good. So yeah, not someone that wants like a vanilla body oil. If you love the scent of fresh figs, like fig tree, you take, like I've actually had the pleasure of picking a fig off of a fig tree, from the branch note to the leaf note to the juicy inside of the fig to the like outside that like you eat the whole thing whole. This is that experience wrapped up into one. It is absolutely divine. Hidden gem that way more people need to talk about. It's also so gross because I use it all the time, and now there's, yeah. I mean, this is what happens when you use stuff all the time in my world. They get kind of gross. Hair products, in which all of them are no longer in this space. But we're still going to talk hair, especially because hair is going to be, I'm going to try and focus more on hair next year. Actually, this is one that I have in front of me because I used it to get ready for the video. Mason Pearson. I probably should have cleaned it before. You do have to clean a boar bristle brush because it picks up dust. I truly did not want to love this brush. And then I tried it, and then I loved it. And that was the end of that. It's fantastic through and through. No breakage, immediate kind of smoothing effect. When I run it through my hair, it feels amazing on the scalp. It's incredibly gentle. And I think what I notice the most is that my hair feels really silky smooth, and yet it doesn't, there's like zero friction of the like hair going or the brush going through the hair. That's something I'm really not used to. I feel like a lot of you guys will be able to relate to this. Like just when your hair is thicker, even like I had such an awful blowout experience one time where the woman, she was taking the brush through my hair and my head was literally like this. Or if you deal with breakage and you're wondering if your brush could be a culprit, I'm gonna have this like forever. I think it's really a great investment. You know, brushes are one of those things, face brushes as well as hair brushes. They can be something that you have for years And if you invest in something high performing rather than just going through the same cheap one, it could be a route to go where you just like save up your money and then have the one thing for a long time rather than a lot of maybe cheaply made things in a shorter amount of time. Speaking of hair, the Apres, I don't think it's a, I don't, I think it's Apres. The Apres Healthy Hair shampoo and conditioner. I have not used another shampoo and conditioner like this, you guys. Really transformed my hair. My hair is bouncier, it's shinier, it's more healthy, and yet my hair also dries faster when I blow dry it. It's silkier. I find that it takes me a lot longer to get split ends. My hair also doesn't get greasy in 2 days. You know, there's a lot of nourishing shampoos that you put it on and like day 1 you're like, "Oh my God, my hair feels great." And then day 3 you're like, "Holy crap, get me into the shower." That is not this at all. Love the shampoo. I think the shampoo is actually very, very special. It doesn't lather a ton, but it gets my hair so clean without being stripped. And then the conditioner just ultra silky. It feels like it's really getting into the hair rather than just kind of sitting on top of it. You know, when you try a product and you're like, "Oh, they really thought this through. This took a lot of loving care." That's how I feel about this line. The performance has just blown my mind, and I didn't think I was going to be that kind of person with shampoo and conditioner, honestly. Color Wow, of course, the Dream Coat has to make an appearance here in this video. By the way, I did try the Color Wow, the leave-in. I did not like it. It made my hairs pretty greasy. I'm still a #1 fan of the OG Dream Coat. That is my favorite for getting like a ton of shine when I'm blow drying my hair or blowing it out. But consistently, Color Wow is very lightweight. It gives me an ultra pretty shine without weighing my hair down. It's just fantastic. All the hype surrounding it, completely worth it, in my opinion, and deserving. The Living Proof Advanced Clean Dry Shampoo. Expensive. Never thought I'd be an expensive dry shampoo purchaser until I used it, and then I said, this is the best that I've ever used. I don't think I can go back. Actually makes my hair feel clean. And it kind of brings this flexibility to the hair that you get when your hair is actually clean. So like when your hair is very dirty, it feels kind of heavier almost on the head. The dry shampoo kind of brings back the flexibility that clean hair has, the silkiness and the way the hair almost moves. It looks like the movement of the hair actually looks cleaner, which is crazy. It also is great for building volume. Like if you have very flat, straight, greasy hair, you'll put that in and immediately it kind of becomes more voluminous and pretty. I also want to share some brush recommendations right here at the end. The BK Angie Hot and Flashy brush, the A506, amazing for concealer. I never thought it would be a concealer brush person, but this little paw, you can see my finger, like it's just bigger than a finger, immediately presses in the concealer and gets such a gorgeous airbrushed effect. I oftentimes don't even use my sponge really anymore. If I have this, it's just so much easier and quicker. It doesn't absorb as much product and it's so gentle. I'm kind of looking at my makeup now and I'm like, adding that concealer really made things look kind of weird. But it's also like so far into the video that I'm like, does that actually matter? Anyway, well, some of you guys know about the fuzz in the eye debacle. Some of you guys don't. My makeup didn't necessarily look like this at the beginning, but we had to make do. Another version kind of the same brush is the BK 109. This is, again, it's like the same thing except bigger. Beautiful for very thin products. If you have a lot of thin kind of liquid formulas, this just kind of picks it up. It keeps it right on the top of the brush and then glides it right over. It's not going to get all the way down into the brush and kind of absorb everything and kind of stay really wet. This just takes it and then it applies it and glides it right over the skin. Gorgeous brush. And you could also kind of press it down and then you can kind of pack cream products on and get a lot of precision. I use these two a ton. I already mentioned my eyeliner brush, the 208, which you know, I talk about it already a lot on my channel. It's just my favorite eyeliner brush. My eyeliner hasn't been the same since I found this one. If you want more of a classic foundation brush that can also kind of do everything, the 106 is gorgeous. This one's really good because it's a little bit more flexible. So if you really like to do more buffing motions, this will really work with that. But it's also not like too big. So it has the flexibility to get the whole face done pretty fast. I have so many more. Like I really could go on and on about BK brushes. I think these are the ones though that I wanted to like definitely recommend. Literally all of their eye brushes are beautiful too, and pretty much the ones that I'm using. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to mention this sweater, which is another 2024 favorite. My Sloan sweater from Ozma. I almost felt like I needed to mention my earrings and this sweater because it's kind of become like a little bit of my uniform. But these are the Ideal studs. I also love the Emma ones. So these and then the Emma attachment to these have been pretty much the only earrings I'm wearing. And then this cardigan is pretty much the only cardigan that I'm wearing. The reason I love the Ozma sweater so much is that it turns literally any like outfit that's kind of boring or almost like a little too casual, you get my drift. You can throw this on top and somehow you look cute, you look put together. Also, it's alpaca, but it's not itchy. I'm not wearing like a long sleeve with this. I don't need to. It's so gorgeous and soft. And that, you guys, was Best of Beauty 2024. Please leave me your comments down below of your Best of Beauty for 2024. Every day, I am so sincerely grateful that I'm able to be here and to do what I love. So thank you. Like truly, you guys are my favorite thing actually of the year. And I will see you guys in my next one.